But I was more of a, me personally, I would go more to sounds like reggae sound systems. I like the record cover because it looked like it probably had been made on someone's kitchen table. It was just so kind of just
raw and real.
Yeah, raw and real.
I can't help but feel a general sense of just discovery.
I think I say disgust.
Ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are in the world, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I'm joined by one half of legendary duo Basement Jaxx. Describe what the club scenes were like during those times when you were establishing your brand, establishing your music, establishing your stamp on the genre.
What the club scene in general was like?
Yeah, for you guys.
The club scene. So club culture was very big in Europe. I think in America it was more underground still then. So we're talking like 94, 95.
Sure.
And you had big clubs here that we used to call big shiny clubs. There were clubs that were, not quite super clubs, but catered to large audiences, charged quite a lot to get in. Ibiza culture was very strong. And I suppose what we were attempting to do was, number one, because we couldn't afford it and we were unknown, was hire. I mean, I say that it was part of us, but it was Felix's totally initiation to put on parties, really.
Okay, wow.
In pubs in South London, Brixton, where we lived and worked, because it was cheap. You could hire a back room. They'd let you have it till 3 or 4 in the morning. And it became this sort of thing and that's why for a while we described our music as punk garage, because the music was garage, the way, that the Paradise Garage in America and garage music. So we were big influenced by that, but we had the kind of UK slight anti-sophistication, slightly, what's the word?
Rebellious almost.
Yeah, rebellious, but slightly like, that was the punk in a way. And that was what our clubs were like, because they were kind of a bit stinky and sticky and sort of, but it was, it was, I don't know, it was a really nice atmosphere and it felt very natural and...
authentic.
Yeah, but to tell the truth, I personally I did go to clubs, but I was more of me personally, I would go more to sounds, like reggae sound systems.
Oh, what?
That's what, when I first came to London in 89, and that's what first thing I wanted to go and do. Because I'd learned about not just reggae music in general, but like a British sort of version of it, and the sound system culture, and I would go to that. So that was me personally, what I would do. And when Felix first put on the parties, I didn't really want to go to them, really. I was like, do we have to? He's like, well, yeah. Well, I mean, it's great, he did, because it became part of our story.
Of course.
And also, we, as we started to play at these things more and more, we could road test new ideas that we were working on. And so... yeah, it's weird. It's kind of, as someone who never really, because I'm quite a quiet person, really, and I like, in ways, there's something about it that's kind of anathema to me, but I've spent so much of my life in these places,
You struck a nerve when you said sound systems, because where I grew up in Jamaica, and I know what you mean when you say sound systems, feeling that bass going through your spine and just, the dancing and just, the enjoyment of life.
Yeah, and the personality of the selector as well.
Yeah, that's
so often like, they'd have just one deck, and a guy I used to go and see who passed away recently, Josh Shaka.
Yeah, I know.
So Josh Shaka?
Course.
Yeah. So I bought his records when I was 14 in Virgin Records or HMV somewhere. I like the record cover because it looked like it probably had been made on someone's kitchen table. It was just so kind of just
raw and real.
Yeah, raw and real. Yeah, it was like it was just fascinating. Yeah. And on the back it had sort of a quote from the scriptures and and it's just fascinating. And I loved it. And it was just it had a different. It was not like Jamaican reggae. It was sort of not quite as produced. It was very earthy. So when I came to London and then I became aware that this person by that time I had like 8 or 9 of his records that he was playing, and I could go and see him, because I went and saw other sound systems, but they weren't like Shaka, there was something about, I don't know, it was intense, but there was something very gentle about the way he played his music and very kind of just very sincere and
that made it relatable.
Beautiful.
I can imagine.
Yeah, some of the highlights of my time, just so good.
Now let me ask you this.
Yeah, anyway, that's by the by.
No, that's eternal. And the reason why I'm asking you that is because that must have had an impact on you as a musician, as a music maker, as a producer, as a DJ. Can you say in any certain terms how you felt like his material has impacted you in any way, shape, or form?
Well, it's like a meditation, I suppose. So letting the music, letting yourself be taken away by the music, and the music becoming more than its parts in a way. It becoming just this. It becoming, just something that you can't really describe. And it's it is. I mean, on record it's a bass and it's drums and it's a guitar.
Yeah.
But when it's, I don't know, presented in a certain way in a certain environment, it's just
no, that feeling,
escaping into another world,
That feeling that you're talking about is what every person on a dance floor is looking for when they go there.
Yeah, or any kind of music. And even going to a concert, going to see some classical music, or I'm sure it's all the same thing. It becomes something greater than us, And I've got to be careful, it's starting to sound...
No. The reason why I would encourage you to speak like that, and
but
why
I got to sound like a pretentious twat, because
no, not at all.
Because there is, there's truth in what I'm saying, but I haven't really thought this through.
No,
Get
but I think
away.
I
reckon you could put it a lot better. You are very eloquent. You come out with some such gems, in the few days that we've known you. You just have a really nice way of speaking. So. You should say it, really,
I'm going to be honest with you, Simon. From the bottom of my heart, I do realize that the thing that you're talking about, 90%, if not 100% of the world wishes that they could identify more with. Because what we're starting to do now, just in the conversation that we're having, is we're starting to tap into a thing a little bit beneath the surface. And I think our lives are so filled with just surface things that from time to time it's refreshing to be reminded that there is more to life than the surface. And if it means finding that on a dance floor, listening to a Basement Jaxx record or to a Josh Acker record, so be it. Mm-hmm. What my
gardening, or building a shelf, or anything really that just takes you away from the everyday, I suppose.
Yeah. When you're producing and you're putting your ideas together, does this dynamic that you're talking about, which to me seems deeply spiritual, does this inform any of your music making?
Sorry, does what we've just been talking about inform it?
Yeah.
Not consciously, no, not really. It must do, but not at that moment particularly.
I think that's...
I don't know, it's all... maybe it does. Maybe it does.
Do you know, the impression that I'm getting is that while you're working, there is a grand design to what it is that you're doing. And it somehow determines where you put the kick or where you put the snare or where you put the riser. And it's only when that song is being pumped, at I don't know how many decibels in a giant room filled with people or in a giant festival that you could start to see the crystallization of this good presence that you guys bring forth.
Well, there's that. There's some music that benefits from being played loud, obviously, to a club. But there's usually, most of the time, we always try to make stuff that we thought, well, we want to be able to listen to this at home, and that it kind of it worked as a piece from beginning to end and was more than just a club track. But we've done stuff that we only want to be club tracks, but then majority of our stuff we want it just to be a piece of music and for it to kind of have its own, to work. Yeah.
Do you consider yourself a producer who DJs or a DJ who produces, or are you 100% producer, 100% DJ?
I'm a producer. So I come more from a general music background. Guitar music's probably more of my DNA, I like rock music and blues and reggae and all sorts, jazz and all of it. So I'm a producer. I'm a sort of like, I'm musical, I'm a musician, but I have worked with proper musicians, so next to them I feel I'm not a musician.
I'm probably sure they might disagree.
Because I have witnessed real musicians and it's something, wonderful to behold. So, but yeah, I'm a musical person. I guess I'm a producer. DJing I'm an accidental DJ. I'm very fortunate to have that. And like I said, that whole trajectory of spending time in the clubs and seeing how people react to the music and being part of that has been great. I've been doing it for 35 years, 30 years, yeah.
Simon,
But it's definitely not. I didn't set out to be a DJ. Felix probably more so. Parties and DJing is definitely Felix's kind of a culture that he kind of. For me, it's very accidental. I'm like in the studio, and probably with as few people apart from someone as lovely as yourself. Do you know what I mean? But like, not too much stuff going on distracts me and kind of, yeah. I'm just me and the music. I'm happy.
Yeah, no, I noticed that about you, and obviously it's worked because it has brought you a Grammy Award. It has brought you accolade, and it has brought you millions of listeners, even to this date.
Yeah. A while ago, the Grammy, but it's great. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it's a testament to the fact that the influences that have guided you musically has ended up in the tracks that you've made, and I think that that's wonderful. I'm curious about what's upcoming. You know, what's next on the horizon for Basement Jaxx? What's next on the horizon for Simon? When you think, let's say, the next year or the next 2 years in the future, do you see music changing in a way that you can appreciate, or do you feel more like a sense of responsibility of bringing something else to music that music is lacking right now?
No, I don't. No, I don't know. I feel slightly overwhelmed by it all.
Really?
Yeah, that makes me kind of want to just turn my back on it a little bit. There's just so much music out there, and a lot of it excellent, and there's so much available that I do, often feel, maybe I'm feeling my ears, but feel a bit,
No way.
it's all
bro.
too much.
No way.
It's all too much. But the process of making music, as I am here with Felix today, I do, for the most part, really enjoy. And it's really satisfying when something comes out of it and you think, well, that's quality. I mean, I don't know how many people are going to hear it, but that is quality and I'm proud of that. That is what I do. That's who I am, basically. That's what I do.
I think that ethos is absolutely necessary.
But as you, sorry, I interrupted you.
No, I'm listening to you.
No, I feel definitely more detached from the world in general. I don't know. It's all going to be fine, but find it tiring sometimes.
Well, I'll tell you what, because I know I speak on behalf of a lot of listeners out there that aren't really happy with a lot of the music that's coming out now, because a lot of the focus has been on numbers and views and likes and digital information rather than the soulful feeling that music is designed to bring a human being. And that whole thing seems to be lost on you in the sense that you are sticking to the roots of what makes music great and what makes music and what gives people what they need.
Yeah, I don't know, but I think so. I think there is lots of good music.
Yeah,
I just don't know if I haven't got the inclination to seek it and invest myself in it as I would have done, I suppose,
I think
the music that I love in my life, I spent just hours and hours with it, often stuff that I didn't understand at first. I'd work at it and work, in a way I wanted to understand. For me, it was good. And I know it was like a real relationship,
Yeah, it does.
And I guess, yeah.
It sounds deeply personal in the sense that there's a sense of fulfillment and reward that one gets from listening to a song that is moving to them. And I think once you realize that music has that power, you're satisfied with that. And I think that could be, that to me is what guides me to listen to an artist, is whether or not that artist does something that goes beyond simply just what may be current, but taps into this kind of timeless stream. And as I listen to that, I'm filled with this sense of hope, or this sense of belonging, or this sense of purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also where you are in your life when you hear a piece of music, when something comes across your radar and comes into your life, meaning it holds it's how you relate it what it means to you at that particular time. So I think, so I'm not, I think there's lots of wonderful music. I'm just saying I can only absorb so much. And
Yeah, I'm 100% with you.
I still, there's music from that, older music that I still want to investigate that. There's a lot of music from, times gone by that I still want to get my head around
I can't help but feel a general sense of just discovery
I think you're
that
going to say disgust.
no more discovery, because it's like you're saying, I mean, whether the music be modern or the music be in the past, as long as it does it aligns with you, and then by means of it there's a sense of fulfillment. I think that we're really fulfilling our purpose as listeners.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm agreeing with you. Was that a question?
No, it was a statement, and I completely see what it is you're talking about.
What do you like, Michael? What's your favorite? What's your
Me? Okay, so
is there something in particular that kind of you say this is me, or are you across the board?
I'm gonna be honest with you. There's a song that you guys made called "Good Luck." All right, and I was listening to that.
It hasn't got to be by us. I mean, just anything in
your
No.
It's not necessarily by you, but there's an element about that song that I want to point out that is a thing to me that really moves me. There's the female vocalist in that song. What was her name?
Lisa Kukula. We're going to be seeing her again in America. We're playing in the States in 5 weeks, and we're going to be playing with her over there. Yeah, sorry, go on.
That's
great.
Incredible. Yeah. There's something about her voice that kind of pulls something out of me. And I think there's some artists that does. I mean, there are probably several artists that you may escape my mind right now, but it's not so much the artist as it is the intricacies of the art and the sound of the voice and the meaning behind the voice as that person is singing. And I think from my knowledge of being in the studio, a certain part of you either leaves you and goes into that microphone and makes it on that record or not. And when that part of you that leaves you goes into that microphone, you can hear it, you can feel it. And that's what material has to do for me to be moved by it. And rather than narrow it down to any one individual, it's that feeling of meaning.
Yeah, and also we were talking about this, so that there's a song that Felix wrote that he got a South American singer, I forgot her name, but to sing on it, and she sent her vocals back, so she did it over there and sent it over, and it was just so convincing. It was like she owned that whole piece of music, and that's what Lisa does.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
It's like there's so much. It's just the real deal.
Every word.
You're in there. You're in their universe, like in a way. You know what I mean? It's like there's totally in control of that whole kind of. I don't know.
It's like every word in the lyric is meant with the utmost specificity according to whatever it is that person is speaking about.
Yeah, that's magic when that happens. It's hard to find that.
Yeah, it's difficult.
That's what good singers. That's why. That's what a good vocalist. That's just like a diamond finding a vocalist who has that power.
I'll tell you what, a good producer is able to do that as well. A good producer may be able to do that with just a drum, a snare,
very true.
A kick.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, to be honest, there's some songs that I've heard from you guys that no BS. There's some songs that I've heard from you guys that capture that essence, man. Like this very song that I just mentioned, "Good Luck." So you know what it is. You know what it is because the singers that you guys feature on your songs tend to embody the principle that you guys are expressing, or not even the principle, but the emotion or the feeling that you guys are expressing in the song. So I know that that's all deliberate.
But what's nice about that is that was a very difficult song to complete. It's a bit like the song, which I won't mention, but that we're working on at the moment. It has some of those qualities. But what's nice about that was that was the sum of many parts. So we had Tuggy, a drummer. He played the drums on it. We had strings by Will Malone, who's a great string arranger, and vocals by Lisa Kukula, and then I was playing guitar on it, and then we produced it. But it was like lots of little segments. It didn't, you know what I mean? It didn't start with that vision particularly. You know, it was kind of, it was sort of chiseled at, and one thing became another. But it's definitely this, it's the work of many people really, that track, and it became something other.
I think that's awesome too, because that
And sorry to interrupt, but it wasn't. That was the first time I think we'd done something. So we were traditionally we do something that was in the house world, even if it was a pop song or a Latin song or whatever, industrial or rock. But it was generally rooted in house music, and that was one where we left that. We kind of we did something probably more inspired by the sense of like Motown, and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think when a thing takes on a life of its own, and you allow it to take on a life of its own, and you just prune the leaves or prune the edges, and then you end up with something that's life-giving or rewarding in some way.
Yeah.
I think that's when you know that you have allowed the music to take the shape that it wants to take, so to speak.
Yeah.
That's a powerful thing as well.
Anyway, I better get back to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been absolutely
Right.
incredible.
That's great, Michael. Well done. It's good.